and other parts of Pakistan. And on top of it, people, very brainy people, brave, who are ready to accept challenges.
They said it could never happen. They said Africa was too divided, too dependent, too broken to ever dictate terms on the global stage. They said our resources would always leave our soil cheap and return to us expensive, that we would forever be the world's mine, the world's farm, the world's bargain bin of raw wealth. But on a hot afternoon in Ouagadougou, under the red and gold skies of the Sahel, one man walked into a room and tore that script to pieces: Captain Ibrahim. The soldier they could not bribe, the leader they could not intimidate, sat across from Pakistan's delegation, not as a beggar, not as a third world subordinate, but as an equal. The cameras flashed, the pens hovered over the paper. And with a single signature, history shifted. This was not a loan from the IMF with chains disguised as help. This was not another shady deal that sent our gold to foreign vaults while our people starved. No, this was an exchange of equals. Burkina Faso's gold, uranium, cotton, and minerals for Pakistan's factories, technology, and energy. No middlemen. No Western gatekeepers. No colonial fingerprints on the paperwork. Picture it: Burkina Faso's cotton, no longer shipped away in raw bales, but spun into fabric and garments in our textile plants. Our uranium, no longer disappearing into someone else's military program, but powering clean energy in our cities and medical treatment in our hospitals. Our gold, no longer traded for coins, but traded for the machinery that will keep our farms alive, our roads strong, and our industries running. For the first time in modern history, a small West African nation has bypassed the economic choke points of Paris, London, and Washington and made a billion-dollar deal on its own terms. And the world is panicking, because this is more than a deal. This is a crack in the wall of global exploitation. This is a flare shot into the sky, telling every African nation, it can be done. You do not have to kneel. Western media is already sharpening its knives. Economists in their glassed hours are calling it reckless. The old powers are whispering about sanctions and diplomatic consequences. But on the streets of Ouagadougou, there is only music, there is only pride, there is only the sound of a people who know that, for the first time in a long time, they are playing a game they can win. And as we begin tonight's broadcast, you must understand this. This is not just about Burkina Faso. This is about a message to Africa, to the global south, and to the whole world, that the age of submission is ending, and the age of equal exchange is here. So sit tight. What you are about to hear is not just a news report. It is the blueprint of a revolution.
Welcome to Talk of Africa 360, your source for insightful news, analysis, and thoughtful commentary. If you value informed perspectives and fact-based reporting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is based on reliable public sources and credible online information. It is intended strictly for educational and analytical purposes. We do not promote or endorse political violence, hate speech, or any form of discrimination. Our goal is to inform, not to inflame. Thanks for being here. Let's stay informed together.
Good evening, Africa. Good evening to every home, every street, every market, every farm, and every corner of our beloved continent, where the heartbeat of our people echoes loud and unbroken. Tonight, we bring you a story that will be remembered for generations. A story that will be told in classrooms, in village gatherings, in city halls, and in the pages of history. Captain Ibrahim Traore, the young leader who has already shaken the foundations of the old colonial order, has just signed a billion-dollar resources exchange deal with Pakistan. And it is no ordinary deal. It is a pact born not from desperation, but from strength. It is not charity. It is not foreign aid. It is a partnership between equals, and it has the power to transform Burkina Faso forever. For centuries, Africa has been trapped in a cycle where its raw materials flow outward in abundance: gold, uranium, cotton, cocoa, oil, while finished goods return at prices designed to drain our treasuries and keep us dependent. This deal is a direct challenge to that cycle. It rewrites the rules. It replaces exploitation with reciprocity and dependency with dignity. Under this historic agreement, Burkina Faso will supply Pakistan with some of its most valuable resources: gold of the purest quality, uranium from its rich mines, high-grade manganese, and the finest cotton in West Africa. In exchange, Pakistan will deliver advanced technology, build manufacturing plants on Burkinabe soil, and provide expertise in energy production, agriculture, defense, and industrial processing. This is not a sale. This is not another shipment of raw materials to be refined elsewhere. This is a barter of power for power, resources for machinery, minerals for infrastructure, cotton for textile plants, uranium for medical and energy technology. The deal bypasses Western-controlled trade networks, dismantles the role of the IMF and World Bank in dictating terms, and places Burkina Faso in direct, sovereign negotiation with a fellow developing nation that understands the pain of foreign domination. When Traore stood at the signing table in Ouagadougou alongside Pakistan's delegation, he spoke with the quiet confidence of a man who knows history is on his side. "We will no longer sell our gold for coins," he said. "We will trade our wealth for the means to build more wealth. We will turn our resources into factories, our minerals into energy, and our cotton into clothing for our people. We will not just be miners and farmers. We will be manufacturers, innovators, and exporters of finished goods." Those words set the tone for what followed. In practical terms, the deal will see the construction of 3 major industrial complexes within the first 18 months. In Ouagadougou, a massive facility will produce agricultural machinery, tractors, irrigation pumps, harvesters, all tailored to the climate and soil conditions of West Africa. In Bobo Dioulasso, a state-of-the-art textile plant will process cotton from across the country into fabrics and garments, reducing the need for expensive imports and creating thousands of jobs for women and youth. In the east, near Fadin Gourma, a joint defense and transport vehicle plant will produce armored vehicles, trucks, and other transport systems for domestic use and regional trade. But that is only the beginning. The Pakistani side has also committed to building a 200-megawatt solar power plant that will feed directly into the national grid, providing reliable electricity to thousands of households and businesses. In return, Burkina Faso will supply uranium under strict safety protocols, ensuring it is used for peaceful purposes like nuclear medicine and clean energy production. For the first time, our uranium will not disappear into foreign military programs. It will bring light and healing to our own continent. Economists have already begun calculating the long-term benefits. The value of the factories alone will far exceed the initial billion-dollar price tag within 5 years. Once operational, these plants will reduce Burkina Faso's import bill by hundreds of millions annually, while generating new export revenue from finished products sold across Africa and beyond. The job creation potential is staggering. Estimates suggest over 50,000 direct and indirect jobs could emerge from this partnership within the first 3 years. Yet, beyond the numbers lies something far more important: the psychological shift. For generations, Burkinabe children have grown up hearing that Africa must seek aid to survive. This deal sends the opposite message. It tells them that their country has something the world wants, and that we can trade it on our own terms. It tells them that the gold beneath our soil can build schools above it, that the cotton in our fields can clothe our people, and that the uranium in our mines can power our cities. And make no mistake, the world is watching. In Paris, London, and Washington, policy analysts are scrambling to understand what this means. For decades, the West has relied on Africa's disunity to maintain its grip. But here is a West African nation making a bold, independent trade deal with a non-Western partner, bypassing the usual channels and refusing to play by the old rules. The fear in Western capitals is not just about losing access to Burkina Faso's resources. It is about the example this sets. If one small, landlocked country can do this, what is to stop others? Already, whispers are emerging in Mali, Niger, and Guinea about exploring similar barter agreements with Asian partners. Leaders in these countries see the same writing on the wall. Africa's future lies in breaking the chain of raw material for cash deals and moving toward value-for-value exchanges. Of course, the resistance will come. We have already seen the pattern: attempts to smear our leadership in the international press, economic sanctions dressed up as concerns for democracy, and diplomatic pressure to reconsider reckless agreements. But Traore anticipated this. In his address to the nation following the signing, he warned, "They will tell you we are making a mistake. They will tell you we are isolating ourselves. But isolation from exploitation is not a curse, it is a blessing. Let them keep their false friends. We will keep our dignity." That dignity is at the heart of this moment. Ordinary citizens feel it. In the markets of Ouagadougou, women selling mangoes and tomatoes spoke of how their children might one day work in the factories this deal will create. In rural villages, farmers imagine using locally made tractors instead of waiting months for imported parts. Young people in universities see a future where their engineering degrees can be put to use at home, not just abroad. Pakistan, for its part, gains access to reliable sources of high-value resources without the political strings that come with dealing with Western-controlled mining firms. It strengthens its role as a manufacturing hub and deepens ties with Africa at a time when global alliances are shifting rapidly. This is not charity from Pakistan. It is a strategic partnership in which both sides win. History offers few examples of such balanced exchanges between African and Asian nations in the modern era, but when they have occurred, they have often reshaped entire regions. In the 1960s, Ghana and China engaged in barter deals that laid the foundations for long-term infrastructure growth. In the 1970s, Libya traded oil for South Korean construction expertise, helping to build Tripoli into a modern city. Burkina Faso is now writing its own chapter in that tradition, one that could inspire a wave of South-South cooperation in the decades to come. As the sun set over Ouagadougou the evening of the announcement, thousands gathered in the city center. Drummers played rhythms that had not been heard in decades, revived for this moment of national pride. Children carried miniature flags of both Burkina Faso and Pakistan, symbolizing a friendship that defied colonial-era divisions. On a large screen, Traore's speech played on loop. We will no longer be the suppliers of the world's wealth while remaining the consumers of the world's leftovers. We will build, we will produce, and we will prosper. And so, the world has been put on notice. Burkina Faso is charting its own course, not in defiance for defiance's sake, but because the time for submission is over. This billion-dollar resources exchange is more than an economic agreement. It is a declaration of independence in the 21st century. Tonight, as we close this broadcast, we remind our viewers that history is made not only by great events, but by the courage to imagine them. Ibrahim Traore has imagined a Burkina Faso that trades on equal footing with the world, and then he has gone out and made it real. The path ahead will not be easy, and the enemies of progress will be many. But as this deal shows, the future belongs to those who refuse to be told their place and instead carve it out with their own hands. Burkina Faso has spoken. Africa is listening, and the world will have no choice but to hear.
As reactions continue to pour in from across the continent, one thing is clear. Africa is demanding respect, sovereignty, and accountability. Was this just a diplomatic misstep or a deeper sign of shifting global alliances? We'll be watching closely. If you found this story important, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, unfiltered African news. This is Talk of Africa 360, telling the stories that matter.